and kind of letting the last people kind of come in, we're going to just say hello and kind of get to know, you guys can kind of get to know who Sarah and I are and what we do here. We are just so honored to be here with the Close. We love the Close. Close has just the best resources in the world. And we get the special aspect here of sharing in social media. We do Connect Social Pop, and we specialize in social media. Sarah, I don't know if you want to share a little bit more there.
Absolutely. We've been in the industry of marketing and design for a lot of years. However, the last 5 years, we specialize specifically in real estate. We work with tons of agents, tons of agent teams, brokerages, lenders, all that stuff. So we know what you're kind of looking for, which is great, and what kind of hurdles you have to jump over. Sophia, do you want to tell them about the type of people we've worked with as well, other than real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gotten to be involved in social media in lots of different areas, which is really cool. I'm gone to work with Taste of Colorado. If you guys are Colorado people, you know what that is. But that gives you a lot of great opportunities to work with lots of different celebrities. Scott Stapp is one of my favorite people I've gotten to meet throughout the process. So we've gotten to see social media kind of behind the scenes, also within business and different areas. And so our goal is to kind of pull all those different things together and create something for you guys that's easy and actionable to take into real estate marketing there. And then, of course, this is kind of a funny fact, but we're both born in January. So we joke that we're both just kind of crazy driven Capricorns. Is a fun thing about us as well.
We are, and we do laugh at everything. We love our life and we love who we get to work with. So we're always laughing. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. So I see Becky just popped in the chat. If you want to check out Connect Social Pop, there is a link. She just popped in there, and you can see what we do. It's a daily social media posts. That is the graphics, the hashtags, what to say. They're all editable in Canva, so you can use your branding, all that good stuff. And then also monthly pop by tags and links to buy products on Amazon if you want to pop your game up with pop buys as well. So it's a really cool thing. Come check us out if you can. But yeah, I think we should get started. What do you think, Sophia?
Yeah, I'm ready. Becky, we doing good? We ready?
We're doing real good. I'll let you know if there's any requests for anyone to slow down. And if there's anything like that for audience members, if you have a question, ask me. We'll go try to get to it at the end. If you need something repeated or slower or whatever, let us know. If you're not seeing a screen, let me know, please. Anything like that. I'm checking the chat, and we want you to be participating, answering questions, giving us your own. So please be in the chat. I'm going to be there as well. So really pumped for this today.
Wonderful. And we'll try to slow down. We do talk very fast. So we've made notes for ourselves to slow it down. But if we get a little crazy, you just let us know. So well, let's get started, guys. Again, I'm Sarah, and I want to go over what our focus is today. We want to thank you for being here and taking time out of your busy days. I know agents are wild, and you are getting into your crazy season. So thank you for being here. We're going to go over our social media philosophies, and this is going to be for not just Facebook, but also Instagram and also social media in general. We're going to be talking a lot of generals here today, so you can apply these for every social media platform that you're using. 3 strategies that build your audience and have followers build trust in you. Marketing is trust, guys, and that's where we want to be. We have a lot of examples to show you, so we're not just going to say, yeah, do this, this, this. We're going to show you some really cool profiles that you can kind of mimic or get an idea of what the heck we're talking about. Social media is all about still being you. People are buying you. So this should be fun and be reflective of your own personality. Farming on social media, of course, we're going to talk about that. Consistency, that is going to be a big key word that we use a lot today. And then also we'll talk about the Close Pro. We partner with the Close because they're a phenomenal company and they have a lot to offer on the free side. And then also they have a Close Pro membership where they offer a lot more. So we'll talk about that at the end as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we're going to dive right on in and we're going to go into those social media philosophies. I call it the unsaid love languages of social media, which is really funny, but this really gives us a good base and a good foundation for why we're doing the things that we're doing on social media, right? So one of the big things is that we don't call them rules, we call them community guidelines. This is because you are in a community type setting, right? The more that you are supportive of other people, they're going to be supportive of you. The more that you share like-minded things that are going to be happy and wonderful to share, those are going to be good community builders, good community things. So you're going to hear me say the word community over and over and over again today, probably, too much, but really that's going to be a huge part of why you're doing the post that you're doing is for your community. That's what you're building. A big piece, we're going to show you a lot of examples. Sarah already shared about this, but what's really important is that we want you to be you. As Sarah said, you are selling yourself. You're showing that you are a trusting, amazing agent that they should be able to trust. And so we don't want you to be anything other than yourself. We just want to give you some good tools and tricks to best emphasize that and show everybody else. It's all about aesthetics. We're going to talk a lot about aesthetics today and how things look, how things are presented. We don't want to be too stuck up and make it all about those things. So we want to keep that in mind, but a lot of today is about aesthetics and a lot of trust is about aesthetics as well. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And then most importantly, with all of this, if you start to get overwhelmed, starts to feel like too much, most importantly, take what works for you, throw away the rest and have so much fun with it because it's about having fun. Social media should be a fun piece of your life there.
Okay. Ooh, this is so fun. Sophia, go for it.
Sure. So we're going to go over three important parts here. We're going to break this down even more. So we're going to talk about your three most important topics. I'm going to jump over a slide here. We'll talk about that in just a second. We'll also talk about your branding colors, which Sarah's going to talk a lot about. And then we're going to talk about clear and concise captions, right? This is really, really important for your branding for that all to be the same and all to be relevant to each other. Your three main topics. Let's jump right on into that. Okay, so your three topics here. This is something that we suggest to do because when you start trying to post about your family and your vacations and your work and your friends and your Bible study group and your book study and all these different things, all of a sudden it's just one too many things maybe going into social media there, right? And so when you have three consecutive things, one is it kind of makes your life a lot more organized and cohesive to put those into place, but also your audience knows what to expect from you. They know that you're going to be talking about your dog. They know that you're going to be talking about real estate and they know that you're going to be talking about your family, right? When you can talk about three main topics there, those are going to be things to keep yourself organized as well as continue to grow your audience. This is also a really fantastic tactic that if, let's say you want to talk about your dog and your family, or you want to talk about maybe your dog and real estate, you can have your dog in a photo, maybe add a listing or a new construction bill that you're going, your dog's running around with you and you have them in there. You're able to pull in multiple audiences from doing that, right? So when you have multiple topics, you have multiple people of interest coming to come see you, and then you're pulling them together. What's really important with this is picking topics that are fun to you, topics that you want to talk about, and topics that you want to keep going back to. If these are heavy or hard topics to talk about, it's not going to be lightweight and easy for you to go post about really quickly, especially wanting to be on there quite regularly. So stick to three topics, hone in on them, and then stick to them there. Okay.
That's awesome. And at the bottom of the screen, if you see a little note thing, this is where it's a good place to take some notes. So what we're going to encourage you to do is on this slide is really think about your three topics. Obviously, real estate is going to be one of your topics. What are your other topics? Like Sophia said, is it your dog? Is it your family? You can go a little bit wild with it. Like I dye my hair all the time. If you know me in person, it is a different color every single week. That would be one of my topics, because then I'm going to be pulling people that also like to watch that sort of thing and hair transformations and all that other stuff. Those are bringing those people in. And then those people are also seeing your real estate. Do you like to drink wine? Do you play softball? Do you, it's all of those sort of things. So I really want you to think about those three, well, actually two, because you have real estate as one, those three things that really bring you joy. And then it makes it a lot easier, like Sophia said.
Yeah, and even piggybacking too, we even have some agents who one of their three topics is focusing on their community, right? Focusing on their neighborhoods. Maybe that's for Colorado, a lot of hikes here is a lot of them here, but I think that's even a big for your area where you live. That would be a wonderful thing to highlight as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to be talking a bunch about branding, a bunch about different stuff here, and we're going to go into a ton of different examples. Sarah, do you want to talk about branding at all a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole point of branding is so people think of you not just consciously, but subconsciously. When you are using the same sort of colors and the same sort of fonts and the same sort of layouts, people get used to that. They expect that from you. That way, if you get some, or if they get something from you via email, online, in the actual physical mail, things like that, they're going to see it and recognize your brand right away. Brand recognition. I mean, and I know big corporations talk about brand recognition all the time. And this is what you're doing for your own business is brand recognition, marketing yourself, that you look professional, that things match, that things are consistent. I know with being a real estate agent, it is kind of tough sometimes when you say, okay, well, I'm going to do my own social media, but then the title company said that they can do some postcards for me. Or, you know, you have all these different people coming in, and then all of your stuff, you look at your business card and your website and your social media, do they match? Are they consistent? Because that is a professional feel. So yeah, it's just creating that brand awareness and consistency. How many fonts and colors? You know, it's really up to you, the fonts and colors that you want to use, just to be consistent with all of them. So a lot of our clients have a primary font and a secondary or third fonts that they use, like kind of accent fonts. And then that's same with colors as well.
Yep. Yep. Beautifully done, beautifully done. And it really is, it's this whole game where it pairs with your business and trust and all these different things. And what we're going to take a look at here, guys, is we're going to take a look at a bunch of different real estate agents who do this successfully on social media. So you can take this and make it your own in your own way, right? So we're going to take Sarah here, and she is super duper awesome. Not Sarah who was talking, Sarah on our screenshot.
I'm
here.
awesome too, though.
Both are amazing, both are amazing. But we're talking about the Sarah here on the screenshot, and she is so awesome. One of the things I love most about her is she is super fun and super funny. You can tell right away in her little caption there about her. It's really short, it's sweet, it's right to the point. She actually says serial laugher, which I think Sarah and I both deeply connect with, you know, on lots of levels. But what's really great about what she does is every time that she posts, you know, right away it's her. You see that teal blue and you know that it's her. You're going to go to her profile. You're going to see these 5 highlights at the very top. And they're all these beautiful teal. And then throughout all of her pictures, doesn't matter where it's at in the picture, you're going to see if it's in a picture, if it's in a pumpkin, if it's in even just kind of in the background on something, she has a little bit of that teal blue somewhere in there, and that's part of her marketing. And what's really important with that is that she doesn't have to do it all over the place, or every filter has to be that. Just little touches here and there that you know that when you look at that post right away, you don't even need to read it or see who it's from. You know it's immediately from her. I'm sure you guys have had that with other agents where you just know, or someone on your social media that you know immediately who it is when they post, right? Other really phenomenal examples, obviously Tom Ferry, he's amazing at marketing on so many levels. He does a great job. He has that beautiful dark blue that runs all the way across on his profile there. He has a great call to action. I don't know if you guys can see what that is, right? Where his description is, he has blog articles and has a little down arrow. That's a call to action that says, hey, click here, guys. There's some fun stuff here. So he does a great job doing that. Then as you can kind of see throughout his entire branding, he has blue represented throughout. He has white. He has clear colors, or mainly pictures of him or of quotes. So they're very, very structured. You'll see here with Angie, I love her colors. She does blue and green kind of throughout, and then a little bit of red. What I think is really fun with hers is that she doesn't have to, everything doesn't have to be quite the same. This has to be kind of in there on some points. So she mainly uses 3 colors. That's not all in her highlight colors. And then she kind of does them throughout. And even as simple as, you know, her husband's wearing that blue shirt with her baby there and things like that. You just have like little bits here and there that kind of continue to bring that color in, which is what creates her overall brand. It's more about the overall feel when you're looking at that feed than it is every single post. And then another great example, if you guys are like, hey, Sophia, this is all super great, but I will not be going on there and I will not be coloring this and I will not be making this every single font, right? That is totally okay. There are so many different ways around it. There's so many different ways to do it. I love this one over here on the right. You can tell that he uses all professional photos for all of his, right? So he's not doing photos of his family. He's not doing things like that. These are all professional photos that he's using to highlight his real estate, to highlight where he lives. And almost all of his, he also always has almost the sky or some type of kind of scenic view to it. He does kind of
want to pop in for 1 second because I had a question for someone in the chat privately asking how do you create those titles or buttons on Instagram, and wanted to say that those are called highlights. So when you post in Instagram stories, you can choose to highlight that story, and what that does is it saves it to your profile. And then I forget exactly how to do this, Sarah, Sophia, I'm sure you can point them in the right direction to change the color of your highlights and to make it that brand. Because I think that's a really great visual element to any Instagram profile. Personally, I always look at highlights. That's one of the first things I look at. So how do you go about changing the color? Is that just you go into settings? Is it pretty much?
So yeah, so there's a couple different ways to go about it. And what's actually super awesome, if you guys want to dive, we do a whole study on your highlights in the Close Pro. So we actually dive into how you should set them up, how many you should have, why they're in those things. So we'll go into deep parts about that. But a lot of those people are actually kind of creating on Canva. So they'll go in there and they'll actually kind of create their own icons, their own colors. You'll also see here actually on the very right one, he doesn't want to use icons with it. He just wants to use visual pictures. So he just has colors that are either in black and white that have a little bit of blue on it, or just black and white to make it really clean and crispy. I'm going to also show you guys some other examples of how to do that without having to have a Canva or something like that as well in it. Super awesome questions. Is that kind of sort of?
Totally. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page with it, but thanks for answering.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is actually one of my favorite ones. The Rehab Life, they're one of my favorites because they're like the complete opposite of what social media should be in terms of aesthetics, right? They're literally about rehab. All like destruction and kind of chaos in there, right? But they make it look so good. And what I love what they do too, like their highlight covers, they're just really clean. They look right to the point. They have hardwood floors on there. I mean, it's beautiful, right? It speaks to what they do. It has those brown tones, which they're going to have in a lot of their pictures. They're going to have a lot of brown and white because they're doing construction type stuff. So that's a really great thing to do if you guys wanted to take an element of like a counter or a kitchen or marble or something like that too, and use that as one of your things. That's a really great, beautiful way to go about it. The way you upload it is you just upload it like you would a picture on your highlights, and then you can save it as your main highlight cover photo, if that makes sense. Another rule of thumb from the Close Pro we're going to give you, it's a good rule of thumb to have 5 highlight covers because they fit perfectly across the screen on mobile, and not everyone knows to move past that. Stylish Detroit is also a fantastic one to take a look at. They are also really clean and crispy with their photos, almost all professional photos. They primarily lean towards white or light, clean, airy spaces, what they aim for in their photos. So even if you're going through stock photos, you just want to aim for the same types of photos to kind of give that vibe. Then they also just have a beautiful, dark green color all the way across for all their highlights. I think that makes it really easy. It makes it really classy, and you don't have to mess with it too much there.
Yeah.
A few more examples. Last one. Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, something that Sophia brought up that's a really great idea is when you are out and you are showing houses and you're in certain neighborhoods and you're seeing a granite countertop that you really love, or a chair that has like your branding colors in it, go in, take a picture of that and be like, I saw the most beautiful chair at a new build today. Or, I was showing a new house in this price range and look at this phenomenal granite countertop. These are easy ways that you don't have to really come up with content. You're just seeing it. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, doing that sort of thing that builds your brand. Plus it's real estate. Plus it's showing that you are an active agent because you're out and about taking pictures of stuff like that.
Yes. Oh, great advice, Sarah. That's awesome. I want to see what everyone's looking at, all the pretty stuff. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, I think this is the last one, guys, but this is going to help kind of hone us in. This is even going kind of more anti matching, more anti all that kind of stuff, just to kind of give you guys lots of different ideas of what you can do to make it your own. Right here, we have Ian. He's from Austin, Texas. He is fantastic over here on our left. What I love about him is he primarily does video. That's really how he is known. And video is one of the #1 asked things in social media right now. So if you guys are comfortable with video, highly recommend it. Even if that's not with your face, if that's showing your property, that's fantastic, whatever feels comfortable, or your clients' testimonials. But videos are so huge. And what he's done is it's primarily his branding is all him, primarily all his face and his videos, which is awesome. Then he has his beautiful highlight covers at the top, very centered, very easy. And then all of his direct contact links are very easy to understand who he is. You have Joyce here in the center. She does a really great job as well. She focuses on all professional photos. She focuses on working with professional photographer and getting those. She has tons of beautiful, breathtaking landscapes. You want to make sure that if you are grabbing these photos from somewhere, that you're giving the person the credit for it. You want to tag them. It's going to give you great results as well in your algorithm. But if you are using a photo, you want to tag them. But she's primarily using a lot of really awe-inspiring photos to kind of get that awe. And then what I really love about what she has with her highlights, which is something different that you guys could do with her highlights, she doesn't do anything about herself. She doesn't do any matchy. She just does her listings. So each listing is, or each highlight is her listing, and it's just the photos of that listing and then the address of where it's at. And if people are interested, they can contact her and DM her to do a showing or to get seen. But all of her highlights are just for her active listings that are currently active, which is pretty cool. And then over here on the right-hand side, you can see that he has a lot more highlights, which is really cool. But a lot of what he focuses on is a lot of the skies and the blues there. So you'll see a lot of people also like to use sunsets in a lot of their photos to get attention or to get eyes on it, because they're a really beautiful thing to look at. That's also a great thing you can do. I know if you're having a listing photo done with sunset in it, a great thing to post. A lot of people are loving it. Lots of different ways to go about this.
I love those suggestions, lots of inspo of various ways people can do that. Just a heads up, I did link to a closed article that shows really great Instagram Reels, which Instagram Reels is the new video portion of Instagram. Essentially, they're trying to be TikTok and are pushing video because of it. So I sent that, and one person asked, can Reels be scheduled? I actually have no idea if Hootsuite and all of them allow for that, but that's a really good question. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I'll say this, doing video is definitely a great way to get the Instagram algorithm to push your content more, because Instagram is trying to compete with TikTok, and people spend more time on the app when they watch video. So therefore Instagram is pushing video. So I also think that's if you are comfortable with video, and I loved the idea of, even if you don't want to appear on your profile or in videos, you all gave really great examples of agents that aren't featuring their personal brand and are featuring properties. So I think just knowing these kinds of things, how comfortable you are being on video or even in front of any camera or not, can inform your how you're going to approach social media. So really cool.
And it's about making yourself comfortable. It's about feeling comfortable every time that you share your brand. And so there's a million ways to go about it. There's no right way. It's just continuing to push your business out there so people know you're the best agent in the world.
Yes. And as we're talking about all social media platforms, a question that we get a lot is farming and hashtags and all of that good stuff. So we want to talk about location and farming. When we talk about farming on social media, it's a lot different than farming a neighborhood when you're sending out postcards or anything like that. So we talk a lot about location. It's not just real estate, guys. Right behind hashtags, locations are the second best way to be found. But that is awesome. I mean, even if you are at a coffee shop, to pop on the location of where you're at. I mean, because let's say, yes, I'm an agent in Colorado Springs. I want to be tagging myself all over Colorado Springs because it shows that I'm out and about. I know my area and I'm the expert, right? Okay. So obviously always tagging your location on every single post. If you are at a closing, you're going to be tagging your title company. You're going to be tagging all of this sort of thing. But also to mix everything up, don't be a robot. You want to be you. And we'll talk about a little bit about that in your hashtags as well, but not the same stuff all the time. Your farming areas, if you are, I'm not just saying, oh, Colorado Springs. I mean, we can geo-modify this down to a certain subdivision that you really want to hit. Say you are sending out postcards to a specific area. Well, you want to hit them every which way. You want to hit them in the mail. You want to hit them on social media. That's where you're going to be using some of this stuff to kind of like hyper zero in on where you're at. It always helps. Of course, you can tag your stories and make it look pretty. You can make it really small. You can do all of that fun stuff. And again, Sophia and I in the Close Pro membership, we go into this major. I think we have like an hour-long thing just on hashtags. So if you're interested in that, that's available on the Close Pro as well. But yeah, it's a lot to get into. We definitely understand that. So it's it's a lot, but it's just one chunk at a time. Sophia, do you want to hit on hashtags?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Instagram, it's pretty fun. You have up to 30 hashtags that you can use, but be careful. You cannot go to 31 because they will totally remove your post. So be careful, up to 30. And if you are trying to expand your network, you're trying to get more followers, you're trying to get more people on there, don't just use a couple of hashtags. Try to use up all 30 or as close as you can. Now, kind of like what Sarah was saying, don't be a robot. You don't want to do everything the exact same every single time. If you are tagging your brokerage in every single post, you're using the same hashtags in every single post, the algorithm is going to flag you and say, hey, this is the robot, this is a fake person, they're not actually engaged on here, they're not contributing to our community. So they're going to start flagging you and suppressing your post, right? So you want to make sure you're kind of mixing it up in there. You don't have to do 30 every time, but just keep in mind that you have up to 30. So if you want more people to find you, you want to be entered into more categories for people to find you. The more relevant you can be in those categories, fantastic. They're going to be bumped up in the algorithm. That way you'll be rewarded for the more relevant that you are, which is amazing. If you're looking at hashtags, you're like, I'm not sure which one to post, which one to even use. Here's a great rule of thumb. You want to go somewhere between 10,000 and 8 million. So when you go to search on a hashtag, you can see how many of them have been posted. You want to go between 10,000 and 8 million. The reason for this is if it's below 10,000, that means that not a lot of people are following it, and not a lot of people are going to organically see your post if you add that hashtag. If you have more than 8 million and you don't have a ton of followers or a ton of growth on there, you're probably going to be pushed to the bottom and not seen very well, right? So you want to kind of find some hashtags that you're kind of in the middle in. You can kind of hopefully be seen the most and continue to grow your algorithm within that, right? I know there's a lot of strategy in here. As Sarah said, we go over in tons of aspects of it, but good rules of thumb, try to maximize them so you can get seen and mix them up. As Sarah said too, you can tag them in your stories. You can add tags to you can add hashtags and locations to your stories, which is so cool. What's very important is if it looks too blurry or too messy, Instagram will also say, hey, we don't really want to show people this because it doesn't look very nice, right? We want this to be an aesthetically pleasing platform for people to enjoy all the time, right? So sometimes that means making it really small or putting it in the corner or doing whatever to make sure that it looks really nice so that you're not going to get flagged for spamming the social media world. Okay.
All right.
So sorry.
How do we hashtag? Yeah.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. One more thing. I am going to share in the chat again, just in case people missed it, the free PDF that we have for today's webinar that has ideas for every day of the week of hashtags you can use depending on what day of the week it is that Sarah and Sophia put together. I just linked to that, so feel free to download it as they're talking about hashtags.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. Hashtags, how to, baby. Let's talk about this. Let's dive in a little bit deeper. And yeah, like Becky said, there was a great PDF. If you are like, oh my gosh, it is a Thursday, what the heck do I post? I have no ideas right now. So anyway, these are a few of the things. So are they branded? Are they industry related? Are they local? Are they hyper local? Kind of like what I talked about before. So being branded is your own brand. You have your own hashtag. Okay, so use that. Does your brokerage have a hashtag? Use those every single time, okay? Industry, yes. Industry, any sort of real estate things, and we'll go over those in just a little bit. And then local, is it hashtag love Colorado Springs, hashtag, Florida forever, things like that. So make it more local, and then hyper local, like we talked about. Specific neighborhoods are a great way to do that, or any sort of new building areas, or if there's a builder that you work with and they're building in a specific place, I mean, to really bring them in. Anytime you can bring in hashtags from other people that you work with is a phenomenal way to make you look experienced and all that other good stuff. So, but we're going to go through some really neat examples when you're stuck.
I love this. I love this. And I think our screen got drawn on a little bit. So I'm so sorry, you guys, but it was just, we having some fun. So geo-modified real estate hashtags. We're gonna talk about this a little bit because it's kind of confusing on what it is, but it is so valuable and so helpful. And you can use this no matter where you're at in the world, which is so great. Geo-modified is saying exactly what Sarah's saying. We're local and hyper-localing it to make sure that it's really fitting into that. So if that's saying hashtag Colorado Springs homes for sale, hashtag Colorado real estate, are you doing the area code, a school district? Sarah did a great one too. I love my city. I love wherever your city is. look at what your hashtags are for your city, for your area, for the main points that you're in, and start using some of those. You're also more than welcome to come up with your own within your own neighborhood, to use with other agents or use with other people as well. Great things to start anytime that you want to build up that community. But once again, you're looking at building your community. That's what you're doing on there, right? So the more that you can kind of bring them in, best of Colorado Springs, best of Houston, best of wherever. Other places too, hashtag realty, hashtag homes, hashtag properties. You can pretty much do almost any city or state in front of or behind those, and you're going to get quite a bit of interaction on there. So great things. Feel free to screenshot this, but we also, as Becky said, she has an awesome PDF for you guys too.
Yeah, I put the PDF in, and then I also, the close, wrote an article as well that does not have the geo-modified, because these are more broadly applicable hashtags. So I also included that, but I love this idea because I know I'm from New Jersey originally, and now I live in New York City, but that is 1000% how I, as a person, go through Instagram. I love searching hashtags. So I think showing up in a very hyper local way is a really good of return on investment you're going to spend in the time that you're spending on your social media marketing. So I love that idea.
Absolutely. And a big thing we tell our clients to do is have a Word document, something very simple where you have a bunch of your hashtags, like a word bank, and keep all of those. So then you can go through and say, okay, yeah, Dickinson, North Dakota homes for sale, or whatever it is, and go through all these, and you have them all together. And that way you know, when you're going between your 20 and 30 hashtags you're putting in, you don't have to think of them every time, because that is a pain in the butt. So if you have kind of a hashtag word bank that you can start grabbing from, and that sort of thing, if you work with a lot of military people, it could be military real estate, all that kind of stuff. Keep that in that word bank, because you're going to be using it a lot. So it's not just hyper geo-modified stuff. This is your personal hashtags. If you work with first-time home buyers, if you work in luxury real estate, if you work with military, like I said, all of that stuff, keep those hashtags, because you're going to use them.
Yep. Oh, beautiful. I always love this so much. His hair is just so awesome. We say hello overwhelmed. It's because sometimes, you know, it can be a lot of information all at once, you know, and kind of like what we said at the very beginning, KFC method: take the meat, throw away the bones, take what works for you, throw away the rest, because this is about you having fun. It's about you highlighting your brand and making it work for you. And then of course, when you need help, you have the close and Connect Social Pop to help with any of those other needs that you have around there. Biggest things to keep in mind, and Sarah, feel free to jump in there too.
Yeah.
Social media is a beast on its own. So our always suggests start with one platform and rock it, and then move on to others. Sometimes when we want to get set on our social media platforms, we're like, okay, great, we're going to get Pinterest and Twitter, and we're going to get TikTok, and we're going to get Facebook, and we're going to get, you know, and then you're trying to do all the things all the time, and it ends up becoming much more, and then we end up being paralyzed by not posting or not doing anything, because there's so much. So start with one, figure out where your main clientele is, whether that be Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, wherever that is for you, stick to it, and then rock it, go from there. Consistency is on top of that. Anything more than that is number one, right? You're going to have all these real estate marketing people tell you, or marketing people in general say, you need to post 3 times a day or once a day, or do blah, 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 blah. Our biggest suggestion is do what works for you. If it's twice a week, fantastic. Stay consistent with that twice a week, because your audience is going to get familiar with you posting twice a week, and that's what they're looking for, is consistency. And so is the algorithm, right? If that's 3 times a day, good on you. That is super awesome. Just try to stay consistent with it as best as you can. That's what's most important. Okay. Yeah. Anything else on that one?
Yeah, you know, social media is kind of a full-time job in itself. And as a real estate agent, you are not just slinging casas over here. You are also a counselor and an accountant, and, you know, a marketing guru, all the things when you become a real estate agent and continue to build your brand and everything. So when you dive into social media, it's a lot. And what Sophia said about what platform do I start with? Facebook is the number one and has been for years. It's crazy, actually. However, I want you to think about your target market. If your target market is middle-aged women, you are on Facebook, honey. You need to advertise on Facebook. That's where that demographic is at. If you're trying to hit new home, first-time home buyers that are in a younger generation, yep, then you're going to want to hit Instagram. You're going to want to hit TikTok even, those sort of things. So I want you to really think about your target market, who you want to work with, what demographic, is it luxury, is it first time, and where your people are at. Because people can really get into it and say, oh, I want to post everywhere. I'm going to post on TikTok for luxury real estate for people in their 60s. That's not going to be the best use of your time and efforts. You're going to want to move things around. So really honestly think about who you want to target. And then also, like Sophia said, it's if you are a 2-time-a-week poster, stick to that. The algorithm likes consistency. So really stick to that, in one platform at a time, obviously, yes.
Makes it so much more manageable, right?
Yeah.
So this is the amazing worksheet that you guys have been downloading, that you've been working on, taking a look at, and we just kind of wanted to run through it quickly and share some of our favorites because we love this. We go back to it and use it all the time just to go back and take a look at and see what kind of fun things we can look at. I'm going to just share some of my favorites here really quickly. I love Motivation Monday because I think it's a great way to get everyone pumped up for the week, regardless of what industry you're in, which is wonderful. Thankful Thursdays, I think is always a great time to talk about old clients. I think that's a great time to kind of bring that in. When It Wednesdays are also one of my favorites because I think that that's a great time to also shout out other agents that you're working with, or other, maybe as a lender that you're working with, or someone who's doing a really great job. I think it's a great way to involve your community in other ways. So I think that those are some of my favorite ones. Sarah, do you have any favorites on here?
Yeah, Trendy Tuesday is one of my favorites, especially if you're a real estate agent that is out showing a lot. So showing agents, this is a huge thing. So trendy things that they're seeing. If you're working with a lot of builders and they're doing some really cool stuff, that's awesome. The Woof Wednesday is another one. If your animals are a part of your 3 topics that you're really focusing on in your social media, that is a great way to be like, oh, Bowser over here thinks this is happening. It's, make it fun and your personality. We have had a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, you can be really fun, but I don't want to be the fun agent. I'm not a fun agent. And that's okay. This sort of stuff is made just for you. You need to focus on how you want to perceive yourself. Yes, Sophia and I are fun and we're kind of goofy and we laugh a lot. And not everybody is going to be like that. If you're an agent that doesn't resonate for you, that's okay. Then you need to focus on things that resonate with you. It can be Tip Tuesday. How do you clean soap scum off of your shower door, or whatever it might be? It doesn't have to be fun and cutesy and stuff like that. It's all a Mindful Monday. That's a big thing too. But just to focus on the things that resonate with you and show your personality. These are all really fun ideas and good ideas that you can have, but this is really twisted to be for you.
Totally. And great too, when you're kind of like, what am I thinking about? What can I post about today? This is a great resource to get that brain work in there.
Yeah.
And of course, they say the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing, and at Connect Graphics, we feel like that it shouldn't be hard for you either. Like you should just be yourself. Of course, we have the Close Pro. We go into so many awesome things into that too, and we're gonna dive right on into that. So yes. Kind of throughout the process, we kind of share that, oh yeah, we go more into this in the Close Pro, we go more into this in the Close Pro, and we really do. It's like an hour each. We dive into these sections and really kind of break them down so that you have the understanding and the know-how of how you want to tackle your business and how you want to show yourself to the world. It's a 4-week course. And we start next week, which is super awesome. We'd love to have you guys there. And let's dive into some more info. Sarah, do you want to share about what we talk about specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of start at the basics with this and show you how to do this. I know this is kind of a general cover of social media. So we really dive into the specifics, how to do it, just even how to set up your social media account. And sometimes like, okay, I'm going to get started. How do I do this? Does it need to be a personal account versus a business account? What's the difference? How do I change it? Can I change it? We go through all of those sort of things. If you're looking to do any social media type of advertisements, what that looks like, what the ad spend should be. Of course, branding and consistency, keeping that true. We go into a lot of extra details about that. We talk about stories, highlights, all of that thing. We talk about video, of course, cultivating your community, and then also different tactics for engagement. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm posting, but nobody is reacting. We give you a lot of big tips on, hey, this is how you're pulling people in. This is how you get them to react to your stuff. Obviously, we have worksheets that go with everything. And then the close, we partnered with them, and we get, well, you get 30 days of edible social media post, which is really cool. And that's what we do at Connect Social Pop. So after you run out of those amazing 30 days, you can come on over and then you get daily things for the rest of your life. But they're really cool. They're four separate modules, and we kind of attack a different thing every time. Yeah, it's really great and in-depth.
Yeah, and I linked out to the Close Pro if you want to look at it. I think we get to this in a little bit, but for the next week, we're taking $100 off. So it's $199 for not only Sarah and Sophia's training, but if you're familiar, oh yeah, that next slide's probably perfect. Sean Modry is one of our top writers. He's been a realtor 30 under 30 early on in his career. He did 2 courses with us, one about finding hidden listings, and another one about, I forget what the other one's about. I should look that up too, though. We have Chris Linsell, our senior writer, 6 Simple Systems to Transform Your Real Estate Business. Beverly Ruffner, who is the queen of converting online real estate leads. She rocks with that. We had her do generating leads to build a long-term business. Then we have Sarah and Sophia's Facebook and Instagram crash course, which is a lot of what was covered today, but more in depth, literally like how to literally do it, along with the 30 days of social media posts. And then we also have a resource library, which has a lot of stuff in it. So if you click over to the Close Pro, you'll see that we're running a special. I think that ends, toward the end of the month. But check it out. Sarah and Sophia's course is, dare I say this, my favorite? I don't know. I feel like I'm bad mouthing the other.
Yeah.
So good too. Don't tell the other instructors, but we have.
We're telling them all.
If you go down, you actually can preview the courses before you even have to register or anything. So even if you just want to check them out, that link is in there. But hopefully also you got some really great takeaways from today, no matter what, even if you don't sign up for the course. That's why we have Sarah and Sophia do webinars for us, because I know I personally always feel like I walk away knowing what to do. And that is the whole point of this, is actionable advice. So with all that said, I think we've gone through everything, and we have 14 minutes left. So if people do want to ask questions, now would definitely be the time. Otherwise we can end early, but we're in the chat. And if anyone has any like specific questions about choosing the 3 topics, branding, hashtags, farming your area, what else did we cover? So many topics.
Gosh, so many. Yes. So yeah, any questions you have, pop them in the chat, and we are happy to do that. I think our next slide is like questions, we have answers.
Okay, there is a slide for that. I'm getting it.
Oh yeah.
There we go. It's official. There's a slide for it. We are. It's funny, usually we go over and usually there's a lot of questions. The energy on today's webinar was just so to the point, and I think a lot of people seem to be resonating and understood. And believe it or not, I'm still admitting people. I don't want to admit anyone. Welcome. So
that's good.
Everyone for arriving on time. We are going to email out a recording after, along with some PDFs that we referenced. And as soon as Zoom renders this video, I'll upload it to YouTube and send it out. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who showed up today. I really hope that you are walking out of this webinar today knowing something you can do that is going to help you close more deals because of social media. And I really want to thank Sarah and Sophia. It's been, I think, 6 or 7 months since you've been on one of our webinars. I always have so much fun and learned so much from both of you. So thank you very much for your time.